back in the shop Mondays and Tuesdays with Hongry, and I'm extremely happy for everybody who's been watching, tapping in, commenting, sharing, waiting for the episodes. They're not as consistent as I would like them to be, but just keep watching because everything's gonna keep rolling, you know? Today, we got Joe Buffalo. We're gonna dive in, see what my boy Joe got going on, you know what I mean? Yeah, and I hope y'all enjoy this. Can you tell me exactly where you're from?
Yeah, I'm from a prairie province in Canada called Alberta.
Okay.
So it's like there's British Columbia on the west coast.
Yep.
And then it's like a province. It's basically like a state. One over would be Alberta.
Okay.
So yeah, I come from an Indian reserve there called used to be called Hobima. But they took the name. They took the name back, which is Musquecheese, and so because I'm Cree, that's the dialect, like that's the language I speak.
Mm-hmm.
That's the type of native I am, Navajo, Cheyenne.
Got you.
So Cree, we're pretty like prominent up there in the prairies and stuff, and so yeah, you get all walks of types in like different types of indigeneity up there. You know what I mean?
Word. Cree, that's C-R-E-E?
Yeah,
That's
Cree.
what's up. And what does Hobima mean?
Hobima was actually the name of, because back in the days there was like CN Rail, which is like the railway.
Uh-huh.
And because the president of the CN Rail, when they would be passing through, it was a railway stop for major towns. And the owner of the railway was like, yo, it kind of reminds me of a Dutch landscape painter whose name was Hobima, or whatever, last name Hobima. And so in 2013, we actually took it back. So Musquecheese is the name of it now. And so in Cree, Musqua means bear.
Okay.
And Cheese means hills. So Musquecheese means Bear Hills. Like you see black bears running around in the prairies there on those hills. Still to this day.
Dang.
Bears in the prairies, like it's so crazy.
Yeah, that is a trip. Because the prairie is the low part, and then there's hills behind it and shit. So they come from out the hills and
they live in the prairies. It's wild. It's like foothill, kind of like. Yeah, you think it's a dog from far. You get closer, it's a bear. You're like, and so because it's so hilly and prairie, like there's trees and whatnot, so it's
word.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre.
Growing up there, it was like there's some gnarly encounters with bears.
Not so much in the prairies, no. It was
Okay.
like the Rocky Mountains is literally like a 2.5 hour drive, maybe like a 2 hour drive from where we are.
Okay, bet.
And so you get all sorts of everything there.
Word. Yeah, because I've had a couple encounters with bears. I was like on a camping trip once, and I was walking down this trail, and I seen like the baby bear like tumble down the trail, like kind of run, then tumble. Like that's probably just how they move. Like tumbled down the hill, and I was like, "Oh, did you just see that bear?" And they're like, "Nah, I didn't see that." And I was like, "All right, let's keep moving." We get down to the water, and when we get down to the water, we're just chilling, doing our thing, and a bear comes down, like is about to like take a dip in the water, sees us, and like gets spooked, and then like runs back up, and I was like, "What the hell?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're like more scared of you than you are of them.
That's what I'm getting
But
at.
like there's like brown bears that are like people are all like, oh, grizzly bears, like watch out, like yo, brown bears are literally like snap on anything.
Word.
Brown bears are like the sketchiest ones out there. Black bears are like dogs. You could literally go up to them and be like, you know what I mean? They're like domesticated almost.
Okay. Yeah, that's a trip.
Strange.
And you were born up there.
I was born in Edmonton, yeah.
Okay, bet.
In the prairies, and then just moved all over the place, between like my family wasn't the most functional,
Word.
I was just like all over the place, either with my mom or with my dad, and so.
Was it gnarly on the reservation that y'all staying at? Because that's one thing I've always heard about reservations.
So there's like, it's different when you grow up there, and it's, if you're a visitor there, then you're like, what in the fuck? You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
this shit ain't right. But then when you come from that, it's just, it's just a part of growing up, man.
True.
You just like, I mean, back in the days, you'd be able to go to the neighbors and borrow a cup of sugar. You know what I mean? You could go over and be like, "Yo, my mom needs a cup of smokes," or whatever.
Yeah.
But like now, it's because where I come from, in the prairie province of Alberta, under the land there's a lot of oil. And so back in the 80s, everyone was given trust funds. You turn 18, you get $100K, like this type of shit. And so because they're entitled to that as being born
on that
and
land.
Being from that actual reserve. So every reserve in Canada's got different types of resources that they benefit from. And for the prairie province of Alberta and Saskatchewan, it's oil and diamonds and all these other resources. And so so we don't know we never been raised to budget a buck, you know what I mean? We don't know the value of a dollar. We do what we gotta do. And so, you know what I mean? You get given this, you don't even have your grade 12 and you're out there with
the $100K.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got no freaking financial advice, nothing.
You're gonna burn that quick.
So just imagine, the gangs are what's running shit out there, and cousins killing cousins over crack, and it's just
all that
game is real. And so when I went to these schools, I went to these schools that were set up by the government.
Yeah.
I just went because I'm I'm a fucking athlete. I'm playing damn good hockey. Since I was a kid, I was pushing around, pushing a freaking
car.
I'm out there. It's because my dad was so my dad wanted to go to the NHL, so he's living vicariously through me, and he's like, boy, you're gonna kick some ass, you're gonna do this, you're gonna be the best. And so being raised that way, my mom worked at the arena. I could, you know what I mean? I was
got you.
So,
that's what I was about to say. Is you out there playing in a frozen lake or something, or no?
Whatever it took, man.
Yeah.
I was gonna master this shit, and so I took hockey full out, and was all right, I'm gonna whatever. I was bred, Summer times I'd be going to hockey camps and shit, and you know what I mean, and so anyway, so I went to these schools, and I'm back then it was okay, you got to go on. There's certain routes you can take to make it. No, it's just where the fuck do I gotta go? Who's after I gotta kick?
Which way to go? That's what I was about to ask. Did you get into some gnarly hockey fights?
You just want to impress the coach. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I'd be out there, and I was really short, and so when I was 16, turning 17, I grew a foot. And so these schools, they told us, they're yo, these are where the scouts go. So I'm oh shit, well fuck. Let's go. Let's go. So I'm looking at these 3 fucking brochures, and I'm well, who's the most winningest? You know what I mean? That was my winning mentality, and I'm oh, LeBret. So I'm LeBret Eagles. Well, I'm a fucking Eagle. You know, this is that was my identity before I even tried out or before I even went to a school. I'm that's just how fired up I was about. You know.
Yeah.
And so meanwhile, I had already put 10 years of skating in. You know what I mean? When I was young. We had to advocate for our shit because back in the 80s it was difficult, man. You're especially in the prairies, it's hella racist. So we go to a town and we're why the fuck are we running? Are we running because we're indigenous? Are we running because they want us out of here? It was it was an identity kind of mixture where you're because we'd be known to just throw down they'd become looking for scraps, and we're come, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So we'd be rolling in numbers
just naturally.
I didn't know all this stuff, so we'd be going to town, and I'm a kid, and all of a sudden these older dudes that I earned my seat in the car,
True.
I just went a 45-minute drive with the old guys, So I get to the spot, and all of a sudden I'm courthouse, stairs, whatever. We only got gravel road back home, so all of a sudden I get there, and there's about 3 or 4 other kids, and the first thing they do when they saw us, they fucking kicked their shoes off, threw their hat on the ground on their board,
let's go for it.
And they fucking ran.
Oh,
yo, I'm right there. I'm yo, what is it? And I go out, and what I didn't know is the older cats that I was going with were known jackers. So I roll up, and I'm just the kid, and I'm yo, shit, I'm size 7. I'm whatever.
It's cool, yeah.
I didn't know what it is, so that was my introduction to all right, we go around and we punk fools, and that was just growing up on the, that's how it was. So you mean growing up and like being around all this shit, and then just like not knowing if we're getting chased because they're gonna fuck us up, or not knowing if they want us
running because
right. So there's a lot of that in the prairies, and so.
So when you say the prairies, right? Because when I'm thinking of prairies, I'm thinking that y'all just kind of had that area in its zones, but there's like other cultures and stuff that live in the prairies, not just the indigenous folk.
Like in Alberta, there's like Blackfoot, there's Bloods, there's Dene. My dad's Dene.
What's Dene?
Dene is another type of national, like another indigeneity.
Okay. Yeah, I'm super interested in all of it because
right. So there's like so many freaking treaties. Like Canada's based off 12 treaties, and in the province of Alberta, there's treaty like I can't remember them. I'm from Treaty 6, Treaty 5, Treaty 4. And they're all like. And so when you got different, like you got Algonquin, you got Sioux, you got. So there's so many different types of indigenous people up there. They're all like, they all just like gather, It's like, it's crazy. So like Edmonton, for instance, and like Regina or Saskatoon or Calgary, these are major cities in those prairie provinces of Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. And so they all just like mishmash. It's crazy. It's like a giant reserve in the city. It's just natives everywhere.
Word. Okay, so it's not like there ain't a bunch of like white people living in the prairie.
Oh, for sure.
There is too, right?
And so what's crazy is that the premiers of the provinces, they make whatever they make as a salary per year. But what they have on paper is that they're donating hundreds of thousands of dollars to these white societies in Canada. And so then you get these jacked up racist farm boys with dually trucks with Canadian flags out the back and
just doing it.
They hunt minorities, bro. And so a lot of my people up north are going missing because these up north, they want a white society, and like Canada was based on white supremacy. And so to this day, every single prime minister from the very day one and after has been a part of that little club,
For sure.
So up there, they all ramped up and they're being funded by the government. It shows on paper, like you can do your history and check it out, man.
Got you.
It shows them trickling down like
the money's in
to those non-for-profits that are white only, and so that's kind of crazy because on top of that you get all these deniers, and it's these people are saying, oh yeah,
they're doing good stuff.
No, they're saying that residential schools never existed.
Oh,
and they're like, yo, where's the bodies? Like where's the proof and all this shit? And so for me, going and having to come away from what I've lived, kind of makes me a fucking target, Yeah. It's like motherfuckers like look at me and they're like,
oh, he knows some of the truth.
Well, it's not only that, like this guy's full of shit. So you know what I mean? And so I get fucking hazed, man. And especially online, like no one ever comes in public and says, hey, it's more just like on some DM like hate shit.
Damn.
Yeah, it's fine. So I just like, bro, you could call bullshit on my life, but I remember it all for. You know what I mean? When you've lived it and you remember that kind of memories, sure. Call bullshit you want, man. It's my life, man. And so you got a lot of that. So it's makes it a little difficult for navigating in Canada when you're like, you're not. It's bad there, but you get out on the coast, and I'm not saying Vancouver's any safer, but it is pretty safe. Kind of like SF, where it's community and it's, shit like that don't fly. People get called out quick and.
Yeah, for sure. Shit
gets handled quick.
People get called out quick for the obvious bullshit, but that I can correlate with the being a youngster and wanting to hang out with the older folks, just because it's like, oh yeah, I want to hang out with it, and then you get to wherever they're hanging out, and you're like, oh, that's what y'all are doing, and then you got to make that quick snap judgment. Do I really want to?
Well, no, so that's exactly it. I was fucking right in there, man. You know what I mean? To the point where, oh shit, once I got sponsored, I didn't have any of these attachments to material or like, you know what I mean? I give away as much as I've taken, man.
Word.
Just because guilt, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, not only that, but when you get the stuff for free, it makes you appreciate it a lot more. Knowing where I came from, and you know what I mean? And so, yeah.
It's a trip, man. The whole indigenous just history and everything always is super interesting to me because I just know that the stories have been so intertwined and crossed and jumped over that the actual truth of the connectivity of the people of the earth, the people of the land is just lost, you know? Because if you just keep going back and back in history, you start to see like the people who run the country now were nowhere near around, you know, and the people that were here, just I feel like the mixtures of everybody, and then people just got to stay. Okay, well, this is my gang, and this is my gang, and this is who I got to roll with, and then you throw treaties in place that like solidify, like, okay, this is what you guys are. Okay, boom, this is what you got, and then, like you said, you don't know how to mine your land now. You don't like all the knowledge of everything that, especially if they're coming with all this new technology and railroads and all this shit.
On top of that, like a lot of the people from where I'm from don't leave the reserve. So they don't know fucking area code and buses and big buildings. And, you know? Like a lot of them leave, but a lot of them do end up just staying in that comfort zone. And, you know, the government will just hand them stuff to just keep them at bay, you know?
Yeah.
And so the system is designed for like white only out there. So you really do have to adapt in many ways that like, you know, yeah, I live a traditional life, you know, I go to ceremony and I was given an indigenous name, like, you know, sure, I'm Joe Dion Buffalo, but that's like my great grandfather's full name, you know?
Okay.
And so I went through a Sundance ceremony back in 2023, it was July. And in that ceremony, I fasted for 3 days, man. I can't even skip a meal, and I hate fools, you know? I'm just like, can't be around people.
Yeah.
And so 3 days of fasting, and then you sing and dance for 2.5 days. And so at the end of the ceremony, you're basically given this name. And so my name I was given was Nemitawino, which translates to dancer in Cree. And so I've been dancing all my life as a traditional dancer as a child, powwow dancing. And dancing in the streets on my freaking board. Dancing, I love dancing. Like my mom's like, yo, if someone says no and you ask them to dance, I'm like, the next person's gonna want to dance, you know? So that's just been me. Don't be shy of rejection, you know? As that's just what she taught me. So being raised that way and then having given this name later in life, it totally was like, whoa. And so in this ceremony, I remember just praying for like, I want just the biggest and baddest motherfuckers in the game to back me up. Like if you're out there, show yourself type shit, you know? And that was just my, like everything I was putting all in. And then my film came out October 2023, later on that year. And fucking, who came knocking? You know, it wasn't like who came knocking. It was more like when you go out there and you put that kind of work out and that kind of energy. You know what I mean? So we hit up Tony Hawk and we're like, yo, like,
what's up?
Keep me down, you know, whatever. And so he's like, his people wrote the director and was like, yeah, just give me like a 3-page pitch proposal on why you want Tony attached to this film. And homie's a writer. He's like, easy. And then he was on. So right away I was just like, and mind you, like I had like visions of being with Tony. Like I was like, in my mind, I'm like in a helicopter and we're cruising. You know what I mean? I'm like, we're just on some shit, you know? And that's just visions. So I'm like, long before I even thought about this shit, long before that film came out, I had visions like this. So like, I kind of felt like I knew he was gonna be a part of it, but at the same time, like, yo, I'm like, stay true to my shit, you know? And like, and that's just what it's been like. So, you know, still being a heroin addict, I'm still a fucking head, bro. Like, I still love alcohol. But I just know it don't work anymore, you know?
Got you.
And so 7 years clean.
Respect.
And like all the shit that's been happening is just on account of keeping it real with the creator, you know? Keeping those ceremonies 100 and keeping fucking on that path, you know? So I get temptations all the fucking time, bro. Especially in the TL, you know, like staying there. I'm like, damn. Catching whiffs of down and shit. I'm like, bro. And like, so, you know, like it's always there, but the longer I keep passing these fucking tests that come at me, the longer I keep getting blessed from the creator. So, you know, like, it don't matter what it could be any which way. So long as I keep at it, I just get fucking blessings on blessings, man.
Yeah, I love to hear that perspective because I mean, obviously you're indigenous, right? So that's the vibe that I'm getting is that what you learned as a kid through oral tradition, through visuals, through seeing what your people are doing, you you keeping to that, you know. And
It's like the old way.
yeah, and I think that that's just one thing. Like, it's always gonna trump the whole like money can buy everything and money can get you out of any situation, and these corporations own everything, so how can we fight up against that? But when you just zero down into what you're thinking about in yourself, and you can tap into those ceremonial thoughts and just oral traditions, like you're saying, like nothing can stop you, you know, nothing can hold you back. And we're only all here for so long, so whatever work that you putting in is just going to be a book for another generation to read through and be like, he stuck to it. And I think that's what we got, especially coming from, like, they label us as just like slaves here, you know, like black people was only come from slavery. But when you like dial back before that, you know, there was Africans traveling over here from that was navigating boats way before Columbus and all that type of stuff, you know. So it's just, but all of that oral tradition has been like erased. But what you can still get from your elders is the love and the dedication to staying true to yourself and your community, and that's just something that can't be, you can't erase that. You can't knock that down. When people come from a neighborhood or an area or a province or a prairie and stick together on some shit, regardless of what cultures that actually decide to help and get in and join the fight, as long as everybody's like sticking true to the commonality of knowing like we're just human beings trying to make it. Nothing can stop that. You're gonna go against some hardships and you're gonna lose a lot of homies, and a lot of communities is gonna be trashed and replaced with some new building. But the essence of what it actually truly is, like just how even like they call this the Ohlone lands, right? And like the fact that name is still traveling through, even though it's like, oh, that's Emeryville or that's Oakland, but then you got some folks that have like, nah. It's not.
They got the largest Afro-Indigenous community in all of North America here in Oakland.
True.
So the Ohloni's like been here
exactly.
Time.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that connection between Afro-American and Indigenous people is something that whoever they is definitely wants that to be fuzzed, you know, like because that's just it's those are the original folks, you know, who have been around, you know what I mean? So if they can't communicate because all this stuff is in the middle of it, it's like better for them because like, yeah, they can't go back and start talking about, they can't go back and start reading their own stat sheets and being like, wait, what happened? Like, hold up, oh, that's your cousin? Oh, okay. Because I was at an art show once, and the art show was about a cat that had a stuttering problem, and he related the stuttering to reading and how we digest knowledge and everything like that. And I can't really explain it fully, but he was bringing up these old missing slave posters that was saying, oh, last seen, this slave or so-and-so was last seen going into Seminole territory. This slave was last seen going into another indigenous territory. And that just kind of stuck out to me because it made me think like, how many people were actually connected with it, like that was here and indigenous and like going and getting in and linking back up with their peoples pretty much, are finding out like, oh, we actually have more similarities outside of just running from somebody who's trying to capture us. Like we actually...
Back then there was no borders. So back then the Seminoles were connected to the black, you know, everybody was one, you know, there was no borders back then. So the amount of power that the indigenous people had over colonizers was insane,
for sure.
And so that kind of strength that could have been used, and they could have just owned shit. But you know, they all know what they did as well. You know?
Yeah, exactly, right, guys.
No bullshit.
Yeah, man. So, cheers, bro, to sticking to your guns and not fighting. I mean, and fighting off them temptations, because that's another big part of it. You know,
it happens all the time.
Yeah,
it's every day. Yeah. It's just more like these practices. You know what I mean? That I have that like also like I'm like in our culture, in the Cree culture, we believe in reincarnation. So just like the Chinese believe, just like you're your great greats something, you
For
know what
sure.
I mean? So right
For
down to
sure.
my name, Joe Dion Buffalo is my mom's grandfather, who was also like discovered as an actor. He did a film in 1958 with Jane Mansfield called The Sheriff of the Fractured Jaw. It was a spaghetti western. So he's got an IMDb page, and 2016, when I was on my lowest on the downtown east side of Vancouver, I was like homeless, and I got discovered in a film that I ended up being in called Hello Destroyer, and I co-starred the lead in this film, and I didn't know anything, and so
You had to like read lines and.
the performance, I got nominated for a Leo Award. So in Canada, that's like a whatever, it's a prestigious award. But I'm just like, what am I putting myself into,
For sure.
And so it just turned into this thing. And so I felt like I got chosen by film, you know what I mean? I was chosen to do all these things. I didn't go to school for any of this stuff, but people are like, yo, if you can do that, can you do this?
Yeah.
And it just kind of low-key turned into this like thing that I kind of had to quit the blues and the hard, or the down, and everything, and was basically like, I gotta get a manager.
Do you feel like that was a calling card from Grandpa? Like
100%.
Yeah.
People do short films and these. I jumped right into a feature.
You got into a big boom boom.
I went straight to a feature, and it was just like I didn't even know what a feature was. It was just like, and so I felt like this whole like life kind of just kicked in, and it required me having to sober up. And then once that happened, that's when things started happening for myself. You know what I mean? That was just more of a reason to be like, oh fuck, maybe acting isn't it? And so once I sobered up, I realized, oh shit, I can still kind of skate. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, maybe I'll try to skate a little, or like, maybe I'll film some things. Like whatever. Maybe I'll just be around it. And then it just I kind of like put the acting thing aside and just started skating, and because I felt like I missed out on that, when I was in my addictions.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wasn't able to come from Canada into the US because of by law.
What law? Like
because at these schools that I would go to, I got so good at fucking running away. They call it AWOLing. Bro, I would fucking meet a skater from town. I'd be like, pick me up behind the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So back then, if you got busted by them and they brought you back, expelled.
Word.
But if you left and you were able to come back, waltz back in, they were just like, all right, So I had to figure out a system. And so AWOLing, I became so fucking good at it that it kind of spilled out in my adult life. And so as I would get into trouble with the law,
one thing that in the swamps of all of the madness that goes on, there's still that connectivity that they can never erase, that oral tradition. Like, yeah, we in this place, but then you seeing somebody somebody you haven't seen in a long time, sucks under them circumstances, but it's also a wake-up call. It's like, man, we're alive, we're still doing it. Hopefully you getting out, I'm getting out, and like, let's bond, you know what I mean?
And I mean, before all that, I was sober. So it wasn't like they got me, you know what I mean? If they would have got you and they'd be like, we've been looking for you, and they wouldn't have been me being able to reason with them to be whatever. They would have just been hard on me.
Word.
So I had, I was already sober. It was just like, look, I got a couple bucks, like, don't do it. It was like something that I was raised to never do. So to have to, I'm glad I did, because it gave me freedom to come to the U.S.
Straight up.
And I just was able, like a couple of years ago, to be back. Like when I first came in here. That was my first time in the U.S.
Oh, when you popped up, All right,
I came up, Ethan was working. I'm like, yo, I'm from Canada or whatever. And he's just like, oh, we're okay. I was just fired up to be here, Just
I think
I had never been to California before.
Oh, okay.
This is my first time in California, man.
Shit.
All my years, because I moved out east in the mid-90s.
Well, hearing your story, it makes a lot more sense now, right? Because, you telling me how much you know what I mean? Like you had to have your guard up and
Yeah.
but then like actually chopping it up with you, like you know what I'm saying? Like it's like, man, it's just life for some people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They gotta have a fucking straight face when they show up to places because you never know, you know what I mean? Like what's going on.
I guess maybe that's how
whatever.
acting kicked in because, you know, you've just been put in fucking so many life situations where you're forced to fucking kind of, you know, hey man, shit, you know,
Yeah.
like, I'm over here, I'm not over there.
Yeah,
Whatever. So it's kind of like,
because we were waiting. I think I was supposed to be having we were supposed to be having a meeting or something, and like, yeah, you showed up with Jay, but then I'm like, what is this? Is this like a security guard or something? Like, dude, I'm like hella serious right now. Like, what the fuck is going on? You know? But then like eventually, I'm like, oh no, it's the homie who's been killing it. You know, doing his own thing. You know what I mean? When did you actually get into skating?
man, I was like, I can't even remember. I was kneeboarding and all my homies could stand pushing, and like we had a town that was 10 kilometers. It's like however many miles, but they would skate the town, and I'd be like pushing behind them kneeboarding. And I remember like my uncle picking me up and bringing me back home and being like, my mom's Maryland. I was like, Maryland, we got your son kneeboarding in town again or whatever. You know, it was just like that, and that was my earliest memory. But I mean, I had to have been like maybe 5 or 6, just trying to follow the older guys, and then eventually like lawn trap era and all that stuff. You know, it's like 10 or 11, doing early grabs or whatever.
Tight. Well, do you remember like how were y'all even getting boards? Like, was it because there was no skate shop? Was it?
My first board was like some kind of Firefly or something like that. It wasn't even a real board.
Word.
It was just like some garage sale special, you know.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Cause like what was did a skate shop eventually pop up around
So
there?
our skate shop was like a bike shop.
Okay.
And like you're kind of just forced to take what's on the wall, you know what I mean? Because that's, you're not trying to go to the city, you know, and the city's far away from where we are. And so eventually I had cousins who had like a Quonset, like a barn that his dad built him, like my uncle built him a half pipe, which is just like, what, you know?
Trippy.
And so we were just messing around on that and not even really knowing what we were doing. And then I remember we had this bingo hall that I could see from my house. It was an asphalt, our first asphalt. Like they hired security just for us because we were just like raising hell, just being kids, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And so eventually, like, I'm like, man, I keep getting busted. They hired my uncle, late Johnny Johnson, to come and bust us, just security. And so I was just like, they were getting tired of us. So I went to my mom and I'm like, Mom, like, can you take me to town? You know, like whatever.
Yeah.
I just want like this. It sucks here. And so eventually she's like, why don't you get a petition going for a skate park? And I'm like, petition? I'm like, what's that? You know, like, just get a bunch of names. So I'm like, Tony Hawk, you know, like Bart Simpson, you know, like whatever, just writing all these names.
Yeah, for sure.
I approached Park and Rec with like close to 700 names, and it was like, yeah, you don't want to skate in the bingo, then
help us get a
build
park.
some shit. So there was a skate park back then in Edmonton, Alberta called Century Skate Park. And so my reserve went and hit them up, and then they came. And so there was like people at this, we had a concrete patch that used to be this old auto body in the back of this memorial center. It was like our gymnasium, and it was like everything. So in the back there was this old, just like a foundation, and then they built us a 10-foot vert ramp with a 1.5 foot vert, 30 feet wide, and beside that there was a 6-footer with 30 feet wide, and it got cut down to an extension to 4, and it was a 4-foot mini. So you could do a bunch of transfers. It was like,
that's what
there was no roof, and so I had to make sure. We got harsh winters in Canada, so making sure that thing was resheeted every year was a bitch. So like,
for sure.
that was like ground zero for me, you know what I mean? I could see it from my house. And so that lasted for about I was there for about 3 or 4 years until I went to residential school. I was like 11 when that happened. And so, yeah, I went to residential school, and because I got more serious with sports, and when I went away to school, the ramps got burnt. And so was harsh.
For
And
real.
so that was like, it's crazy because I met pro skaters who were from Western Canada, and you're like, Hobiwa! They were like, you know, because they knew our ramps. They were just that badass, you know?
Word. Yeah, that sounds sick. That sounds like, so it's just a bunch of ramps, like, all smushed together, but like proper style. You guys just.
And so that was a good foundation. So already having this and then going to residential school, that thing was by my side like my hockey stick. You know what I mean?
Straight
like,
up.
because I was playing such like quality hockey, like pretty good hockey, they give us gear. So steal my gear all you want, but I'd have to have a locker with a padlock fucking just for my skateboard because everybody wanted that thing. You know?
For real, huh?
And it was me and another guy that skated there. So it was like, we'd put a 4x8 up against the wall, and that was our, we'd just go for hours on that thing. So it was like, it was a savings grace, but at the same time, it wasn't until I like took myself out of school and moved to Ottawa in about 93 that I put my board away, but it was still there, you know? And so about a year and a half I wasn't skating, and then I walked into this boys and girls club, and I was there to meet some people, and I could hear something that was like, you know, when the sheet metal hits the ramp, like, that
For
sound.
sure, yeah.
Yo, I'm like, what in the fuck? I'm like, yo, what is that? And the guy's like, oh yeah, there's a skate park down there. I'm like,
what?
In the basement? I'm like, yo, so I go down there and literally like a skate park, you know?
Trippy.
And like, it was called Skate City, and this man named Claude Renier owned it. And so right away I'm like, dude, I used to skate, you know, like whatever. I didn't have a board, but I like, me boy, your board, man. I'm like busting heel flips, and he's like, you should skate. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? I just did a heel flip, man.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. And it was more just like, nah, bro, like buy a board, because I'd go in there and I'd be like, hey, boy, your board again, you know? And they're like, yo, buy your own shit.
Straight
So
up.
eventually I ended up getting sponsored by that shop in the basement of that Boys and Girls Club. It was called Skate City. And so what's funny was because back then the first person I saw skating actually was Rick McCrank.
I was about to ask you,
he
what
had on,
pros
like,
did you see out there? Or?
Bro, like, I didn't know how in the fuck he was doing what he was doing.
Footwork.
I was just like, this guy is
Fancy
like
footwork, just
truth,
going
man.
off, huh?
Like, skill level beyond, like, just could do absolutely anything you wanted. And so just being around that kind of energy, you're like, well, maybe I can try that, or you know what I mean? So I'm going almost back to basics, trying to relearn everything. And I tip my hat to him, because he really, like, showed me what was possible. And not only that, but they were so cool there, you know? And I had never been a part of like this team vibe where like, fuck teams, you know what I mean? Like, fuck the coach and fuck, you know what I mean? I just came from, I did like 5 years in a school, like a fucking jail, kids jail, you know, where that was drilled on us. So I'm like, fuck organized sports, fuck, you know what I mean? And so that's why I just gravitated towards skateboarding, and having that foundation, moving to Ottawa and seeing and being like, holy fuck, these dudes are doing it. It kind of just like re-sparked it all. And,
Ottawa was where the residential school was?
No, Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan. So how'd you
Inside Alberta.
How'd you end up in
So
Ottawa?
my mom got a job in Ottawa.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, I'm fucking coming.
Yeah,
Get me
out
out
of
here,
here.
please.
Yeah.
And it was like grade 6, grade 7, grade 8.
Yeah, but those were regular schools you was going to there. Or
So I went to a freaking regular school, bro, and it was like,
gnarly.
I brought my fucking chip on my shoulder, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like,
y'all don't
up?
know what the fuck I
bro, like, I was just like, I just have money, you know? Like, I just a bunch of privileged kids and like whatever, but like, I was more having to go there and relearn everything, you know? Because like, I'd have friends being like, bro, you fucking can't do that. Yeah, what? You know, like, just like, and he's just like, yeah, bro, you know, whatever. And I'm just like, okay. So I had friends teaching me morale and value and all these shit from where I come from. It was like, yo, you can get yours. You
just
know?
normal, yeah.
And so, yeah, so it was really awesome having that, like, network of people out there that I had to recalibrate everything. Like, I relearned skateboarding, basically. And then I saw Dan Wolf's, like, Eastern Exposure 3, and I was like, that's skateboarding, man. This is real shit, you know? So that was my introduction to East Coast. And then I just have been, like, just recalibrated my shit. And it was just, like, that's how you skate, you know? So being around that type of skateboarding, you know, and the Boston's fucking not far away, you know, it was just like, whoa, like, that's when it hit me, and I was like, dang.
Cause I'm so bad with Canadian geography. Is Ottawa closer to the east coast? Okay, and where you grew up was more west coast of Senegal.
So I went clear across.
Canada.
So Ottawa is the capital of Canada.
Okay.
And so not only that, like Toronto would be about the halfway point.
Yep.
And then about 7 hours away is Ottawa.
Ah.
And so it was pretty good. It's like a lot of minorities there, and like there's the Quebec is like across bordered by a river, or like it's like you cross a bridge and you're in Quebec. So I mean, in Hull, and so
trippy.
It was pretty cool. I mean, for me, it was all eye opening and it was all new shit. And like, I locked out because Ottawa just happened to be such a rad skate town. You know what I mean? Everybody skating. A lot of talented people came out of there, so it just felt like. It just felt weird being there, you know what I mean? It was like the first city where I was actually like, I felt like I was
doing something.
Kind of earned my place in that little place, you know?
Word. Yeah. And then getting into Ottawa and then like, were you thinking like, I'm gonna go to college and all that type of shit, or?
I was still battling like unresolved trauma, you know? Like, I was still taking shit out. I couldn't take a fucking joke. You know what I mean? You had to know me to be like, ha ha ha, you know? Because I just was too fucking straight faced about shit. I didn't fucking care. And
were you crossing into the States back then?
I tried to, but I was a mess, man.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, yeah. But
that's tight though, because that's two of the things I was gonna ask. Was there any who were the pros or like any? I mean, I know you looked up to your big homies who skated, and so that was a good entry level into seeing.
So for me, it was definitely like picking up skate magazines that were locally in Canada, which is like Concrete Powder or like Skateboard Canada, and back then it was like Vehicle Magazine and 360 Spins, and like so going through these magazines and being like, oh shit, 2 hours away, Montreal, and Barry Walsh and Mark Tisson and like all these like people that I grew up looking at in magazines. Eventually I just went up from Ottawa to Montreal for like contests, and they had giant indoors. So eventually I'd be doing good in these contests. I'd have enough money to stick around, and you know, before I knew it, in '99 I just moved there. And I stayed for 10 years. I went for 6 months and I stayed for 10 years.
In Montreal? Okay, now how far is Montreal from Ottawa?
2 hours.
2 hours, all right.
And so that's kind of what everybody does. It's either you go to Vancouver or you go to Montreal. Like back then, you know? And so, I mean, even then, Montreal was pretty gnarly. It was scary.
Okay.
Because, yeah, just the lifestyle.
I've been into Canada for a layover. That's about it, you know? I had like a couple hour layover, but I didn't get off the...
So some of the most insane skateboarding, like the architecture, is Montreal. They got a lot of like granite and lots of like... The spots there is why I lived there for so long. And the people, you know? It's it's got such a strong scene.
Dude, I don't know why I just had this thought, but I remember I was traveling, going over, because I'm thinking about that layover, which took me to somewhere else, but I had like a little sheet of acid, and like my brain was like, oh, the best way to do this is if you take off your truck and then put the little sheet under the truck and sip the board, because they let me keep my board together. If they would have told me to take apart the board, it probably would have been a little fallout there. But yeah, I don't know, that just crossed my mind. But
you could probably put acid in your your check-in bag.
Yeah, I just thought I was doing some Mission Impossible shit. Like, I'm gonna slip it up. But yeah, man. And Montreal. So you said you was gone for 6 months, and then seeing all that, and then that's what you said, the Eastern Exposure video, and like that was that
influenced me.
Yeah, that was like the first video that you seen, or
the rawest video.
The rawest video, like, right?
This is like forever in my rotation, even to this day.
Yeah, but it's not on YouTube. I like try to find it on YouTube. Maybe they got it now, but there's a couple times where I try to look it up. And I also think about the Sub-Zero video. Yeah, I get those.
So all those videos, pretty much like anything we can get our hands on, you know.
For sure.
That was like educating us on, basically. Well, educating me, you know, because I was already like around it. That I kind of was just like, hey, this is how people, you know what I mean? I just
Word. That's tight. That's tight. And did you have any? Did you ever at one point have like a crew that you knew, like that you call like your crew, like the skaters, or were you just kind of like solo?
So eventually, I ended up getting like Skate City. Like the owner of Skate City knew that I wasn't going to school, and so he's like, "Yo, I'm about to open this skate park." He's like, "I'm about to speak to your principal." So he goes in and speaks to his principal, and I'm like, ah. And he's like, "Yeah, I know Joe's not like participating, and he's always at the skate park." And whatever. He's like, "Is that cool if we get a little job placement here that we could like get Joe in and we could have him making the, building the skate park or whatever?" And so before you knew it, I'd earned 3 credits for building the skate park, which took a few months, and then after that, I got 3 more credits for working there for the summer. So imagine me with the keys to the skate park. It was crazy. So that was like, not only did it like, instill a bunch of responsibility and like, you know what I mean? Like it was like a lot came with it, and so, and not only that, but I was just able to like skate when I wanted, and so being able to just, when you're at the skate park, that's when you know who's who, you're just like, I didn't have a very good reputation back then.
But you was like the park keeper though.
No, because schools rivaled and I didn't know. I would just throw down like fucking hoop,
whatever, yeah.
And that's just where I came from. So other skaters, some rival schools, when they'd see me, like, "There's Joe Buffalo, let's get him." They'd tell me that after.
Yeah.
But we ended up becoming homies,
That's tight.
But they were like, "Yo, when we first saw you, like."
It was almost bad,
right? It was on site. And I was like, "What the fuck? I didn't even do anything. I just stood up for my shit,
Yeah.
And so they just knew that and saw that. And I was just like, this is hilarious. But so that's how you meet homies.
That's how you built your crew. It wasn't like a one set of homies.
It was just like, oh, you actually ain't so bad.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's tight, man. To have somebody like the what was the homie who was running the skate shop? What was his name?
Claude Renier.
For sure.
Skate City.
To have somebody like that's down to like look out and show up to your school. And
definitely on some father figure shit. Like my dad wasn't around, so he's just like, "Yo, Joe's fucking up." Like, I can see it,
Yeah, let's help out.
Yeah. So
man.
that definitely, he like, you know what I mean? He like shifted my focus from, because I was running with a bad crowd, that he just like, "Yo, you know what? We got this little thing over here." And before you know it, I got my own board, got my own pair of half cap. I can do this,
Yeah,
and then I'm a part of the thing, and then it grew, So after that little basement, it turned into warehouses, and it turned into, and it was like, yo, I was so glad I put my time, because not only did it just like, everybody's learning, and it's just, the scene is becoming so much tighter, and kids are just killing it, and this Ottawa has just became this place where kids come out of and they shred, Some of my favorite skaters come out of there.
For sure. Where's Rick McCrank from out there?
Ottawa.
He's from Ottawa, yeah. Get down. Not everybody wants to kick it, brother.
Yeah, and so apparently he lived in Edmonton previously, because I remember seeing him at a University of Alberta Golden Bears like knitted sweater, and I was like, "My mom's alumni." I'm like, "Where did you get that?" Like, I went to the hockey camps. I'm like, let me buy that or whatever. And it was just more like, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool that he like
still
is from that or whatever. He lived in Edmonton and I was just there, So it was just like really small world. So yeah, he definitely like impacted without even knowing, not only myself but a whole slew of skaters that came out of Ottawa.
Word.
Yeah. Like
I'd imagine. Like, how's the skate scene up there now? Like, we're
banging.
Going off, huh?
Like, after this trip, I'm going to Ottawa.
For sure.
Yeah. I'm flying out on the 26th.
Tight.
And so I'll be there for a couple of days. But, I mean, I haven't been there in like 15 years.
Woo.
Yeah, I know. Like, shit. I'm like, I don't know if it's going to... I mean, it's constantly growing. It's been like... There's levels to it, Like, even before I got there was a boardwalk and like the whole... There was a skate shop there, like, and like, it was just been mad history, and like, there's like older skaters than myself that are still killing it, and like, Ottawa's got a good, pretty rad scene.
Yeah, I mean, I need to get up there and check it out at some point. I don't know what I don't know what the stipulation is on like getting back or getting into Canada. I know that everyone's like they always say, "Oh, if you got this kind of got tickets, or if you got this or that," or like they're pretty strict on letting Americans up in there. But I don't think I got nothing too crazy to where to hold me back. But I've heard it's been stuff as simple as like a DUI or like a graffiti ticket and stuff like that. So I'm not sure, but I definitely want to check it out, especially after hearing that. Like that sounds rad. Like Ottawa sounds like a sick spot to just pull up and snap some photos and see who's
and then make your way to Montreal.
Yeah, for sure.
For a day maybe, or 2 days or something. I don't know. But
did you ever get put on like did the skate shop have a team or
they did? Yeah.
Okay.
There was like a lot of good skaters that came out of there.
Were you like on the team and shit or?
It felt like I was a little apprehensive at first because I came from the team and like you know, and like it took a little minute to like. You know, to just
because the team that you were skating for at first was the boys and girls zone. Skate City, yeah. Tight.
And so that was just like he'd give us cost and you know like whatever it wasn't much. They had stickers and yeah.
It's kind of hard to run the sponsorship out of the shop sometimes, but there's like certain months where it's like, oh, we got these extra boards here, or I got an extra pair of wheels.
Like I wasn't even on that level. It was just more like. It was like a sense of community where I was like, okay, these are my people. Like I come from this. I could go and lean on my hockey stick and play hockey, but I kind of quit it to spite my dad because he was so gnarly about it. You know, my dad be out there beating the shit out of other opposing teams' dads.
Like at a game or something, he's just like going off.
Damn. My dad's a scrapper.
For sure.
So like he cops to and from games just got to be like, okay, dad, like. You're not coming this game, you know. Like, let us have some fun, you know. Like straight up, it was that bad. Like he even to this day is like, I should have been in the NHL, bro. I was like scouted and like all this shit. I took it mad serious, and so when I got to these points, I was like, actually, maybe this isn't what I want, you know. Maybe this isn't. Skateboarding's way better. There's no coaches and no teams, and it's not so organized and. No one's coming down on it if you're fucking up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I ate shit, whatever, you know? And so...
man.
Makes you appreciate, like, the times when... Like, sure, like, organized sports taught me discipline. It taught me, you know, like, perseverance and all these other qualities. But at the same time, like... You can't. If your fucking teammate sucks, you suck, bro.
Yeah, straight up. Skateboarding, you can just like.
Skateboarding's like you're gonna figure it out, and you know, trial and error, and this shit's gonna be all right.
Yeah, straight up. Did you ever get any magazine coverage back then?
So back then, I knew that this photographer from Montreal, his name was Dan Mathieu, and I had only ever heard about them because you know, like I'd be studying magazines back then and the names of. Photographers, just like Theo, how I hand, you know?
Yeah.
So Dan Mathieu, eventually I met him and I was just like, they gonna come on, like whatever. And it just turned into like an interview, and then it turned into like all these things, and it was just, they're just so welcoming in Montreal that it made everything just so organically possible, you know what I mean? There wasn't like, yo, I got a checklist and we going, you know, like, check this out, you ready? You know, it was more just like, yo, do that again, you know, or whatever. And it was just like more natural that way. So eventually, like, I got on a board company called, I was like at Best Tricks, like I was saying, I'd go to Best Trick contest at Taj Mahal, which was the indoor in Montreal. And you'd win money and I was able to chill for the weekend or whatever, and eventually it just led to like, I remember Dan Pajot came up to me and was like, do you have a sponsor? And I was like, do you ride for a board company? I was like, no. He's like, what? He's like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, really? I'm like, what? He's like, no, that's just okay, you know? And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I'm just like skating, doing whatever. And then for some reason back then, True Skateboards was who he was pro for, with like Canton Russell and
Canton Russell.
Yeah, and so it was like a Canadian brand. So eventually the team came to Ottawa, I remember, and I was at my local, which was McNabb. It was like an arena, so it was like where I would skate. It was blocks from my house, And I remember that the team showed up and were like, it was kind of like a tryout, you know. Like, I basically shredded my skate park for an hour while they were in the crowd, and then basically afterwards they were like, "You want you want boards?"
You on again?
And I was like, "Fuck yeah," because I already had known everything about the. You know what I mean? It's a tight scene back then, so to get boards for me back then it meant everything.
Word.
Yeah.
Damn, that's
true skateboard.
Yeah, this is sick, man. It's a because like I said, when you first popped up, I was like, because I don't even think I had heard your name or anything like that, so I was just like, is this guy about to take off on me right now? What's going on? But like to see your story unfold, because then you ended up getting your own board and shit, and like, so I mean, I want to ask, like, what does anti-hero mean to you? You know what I mean? And but I think I kind of could feel it. You know what I mean? Based on hearing what your story is and how you come from, where you come from, and even hearing how, like, this was something that you really started off just kneeboarding, and then eventually staying out of trouble, you know what I mean, by going and being at skate parks or and having homies look out and be like, hey, yo, come work over here, woo. But then, like, to eventually get to where your name's like on a board. Like, was that the first time your name had been on a board? Or
like I had been offered from other companies, like not from True, but like I wrote for this company called Premium Wood in Canada, and then like other companies, like really small companies, that there was the idea, that same board graphic idea I've dreamt about since I was a kid. So I was going to attempt to do it with other, like the graphic from Colonialism Skateboards where I honored my grandfather. That graphic I wanted to attempt to do it on all these other brands, but it just didn't feel right, because, you know what I mean, non-native owned. It was just kind of like, you know, I kind of held off. And also part of me was just like, I didn't put enough time in. I thought, you know, like I didn't fucking, you know what I mean? I didn't figure I deserved it. And there was a whole part of me that was like why? You know, like, fuck it, I'll pay boards, so whatever, you know? And like, it didn't really change anything. It was more just like, this is something that you can do. Like, cool. So then I kind of rode that for a second, and it felt kind of like small and whatever. And then getting approached with like super distribution, and Kevin McCouvery in Canada, he's a good homie of mine from Winnipeg, Manitoba. He came here and was like, basically, he told me this. He's like, I went into Deluxe and was like, so let's get Joe Buffalo a crooked guest or whatever. And Jay was like, man, I'll do better or whatever.
Yeah.
That's when Kevin hit me up, and I was in fucking tears, like literally like fucking bad joke, bro. Like, honestly, like, come on.
Yeah, go playing with me, bro.
Like, fuck off with that shit. Like, damn. For him to say that, like, I just started fucking shaking. It was just more like, yo, when I first moved to out east, I went to, and with that board, I fucking skated the entire summer with it. But when I went back to Canada, I got the exact same board because they had them there. So I had two fucking anti-heroes back to back. And I'm like, back then I knew what the brand was about, and Jay is one of my favorite skaters. And that's just how skateboarding's gotta look, I thought. You know, like, in my mind, like, this is fucking how it is, you know? And so I identified with that brand purely because I fucking semi-lived it, you know?
The name, so right? Like, the name.
I'm like, yo, fuck yeah, you know? I'm like, so basically, I just carried that identity with it, and like, not knowing that it came out in '94. And when I told Todd that, he's like, "Oh, was it the spider?" Like, he just fully knew the graphic. You know? Like, what the fuck is this? Like, whoa, you know? And so I fully was just like, been a fan since I could remember.
So it's just early onset connection to it. Just 95. If you got that, that, like, it was fresh. Like, you've been supporting. You know what I mean? Like, getting the boards, but also like mentally just thinking like, this is tight, you know? So that's tight.
And so like, again, coming back to that Sundance ceremony and calling in the power people, you know, like on some Tony shit. Jay is on that level for me, like straight up on some fucking real Don shit. You know what I mean? Like real, like there's no faking type shit. So to me, that was, I called him in through ceremony, you know? And when I told him that, he was just so pure, like sincere, like, Joe, man, like, thanks for thanks for including me on your journey, man. Like, just on some real shit. I was like, yo, what? You know, just like, oh, bro. Like, this is like a dream, you know what I mean? And so being able to just like, again, it's just like passing all these tests and like, you know, it's like rubbing that genie's lamp, and you know, for every fucking wish you want and you ask for, it comes true, and all you gotta do is keep it 100 with the creator. Like, don't fucking do drugs and alcohol. Easy. You know, like put your energy, push that forward, and bless others. Easy. You know, it's all these things that you do, and anything you ask for comes true. It's like that fucking easy.
Word.
And for me, it was culture. Like, when I didn't have, for the longest time, I wasn't able to tap into my ancestors like we can, you know, like I didn't know that. I knew that, but because I was so distant, living on the street and having so much bad shit in my system, that I'd be on like fucking like any which way, this prayer smudge, whatever the fuck, like hear me, they wouldn't, because I was so like distant with the down that was in my system and whatever drugs I was using, so I wasn't able to tap in. So now I tell the youth, like, yo, you got that skill. You don't even have to be native to have this skill. Yeah. You feel like you're fucking down on some shit, or like, yo, shit ain't going my way, send me a fucking sign. Yeah. You can tap into the greats, you know, like I do with my grandfather.
For sure.
And don't matter what it is, you could be like fucking hurting for money, or yo, I need some advice, or whatever the fuck. True. Send me a sign, you know? And people come in, they'll gift you with shit. And that's just how the creator works.
It definitely is.
That's just been my trip. You know, it works for others, like, and other ways work for others. And like, for me, I don't tell people, you should fucking, you know, I try not to say should. I try to just be like, yeah, no, there's different angles, man, and everyone's got different struggles. So like, my shit might not work for you, but I know when everybody comes, it took a lot of part, you know, a lot of your ancestors for you to fucking be right where you're at right here.
Exactly.
So if you can fucking just ask your great aunt or your fucking whoever's, yo, throw me some, you know,
sprinkle
I
it
need
down,
some of that energy.
Down,
have a smoke about it, do your little whatever. Like, dude, I don't need a sweat lodge in order to fucking get my direct contact, you know. True. It could be my 5 minutes in the shower in the morning. That little fucking moment where I'm like, yo, fuck, shit's rough right now, man. Like, hit me with, I need, fuck, you know, or whatever.
I'm resonating with that for sure.
Right, you know, like in these moments where you're like, shit, I could fucking really use some up right now, like in some form of either energy or, fuck, you know, like I'm hurting, you know?
Some kind of sign, right? And then if you just it's up to you to
put that forward and say, look, grandpa, you know, like, or whoever, like your ancestors that aren't with you anymore, your greats, you'd be like, yo, like, struggling, you know, whatever the fuck. It could be on some any other type of energy level, you know. It could be a big fucking whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah. You go to them for just ask, man. Yeah. And it works for me. I'm like, that's why I'm where I'm at, because I took culture serious and I took the traditions and everything that I was taught that was there. I just never fucked with it, you know. I was too busy on my shit. That eventually I was like, oh, actually, I can call it Rick and Creator right now, you know? Yo, you know, right now I can make these wishes and it come true, and I can help bless you. And not only that, you and you.
Yeah.
Like, who's coming with, you know? Creator's providing today, you know? And that was the vibe. Like, you just, when you're constantly on that, then people, if I can crawl out of a cave of addiction, knowing that my culture been there for me, then anyone else can do it, you know? And that's just it. So really,
do you remember the first ceremony you went to? Like, were you super young when you went?
Like a week old or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because they probably took you and blessed you and stuff, right? But like, was it till after or during you were trying to get rid of the addiction is when you started paying attention more to the Sundance ceremonies?
Well, I mean, it's more like all of that traditional, like all that stuff came out because, you know, like anyone can sober up and be like, all right, I'm fucking, I ain't doing shit. Yeah. But you know what? You still gotta sit with yourself. Mm-hmm. You know what? You still gotta fucking wake up in the morning and be like, why the fuck is that one thing right fucking right here? There, yeah. You know, and for me, it was like doing the work, you know? Like, so, yo, like, yeah, I grew up with abuse. My dad's a boxer. Like, I fucking can scratch. Like, whatever. Like, I have these things that I have to fucking rewire in order for, like, okay, I'm not going to swing on this. You know, like, whatever. Like,
put that energy
into what my dad punched that into me. You know what I mean? So I had to rewire my ways. And not only that, the shit doesn't always work the way it used to. You know what I mean? The 80s,
sure.
you could smack your kid up and be like, act right, you know?
Now,
like, shit. So, I mean, really, it was just like, just being the way you're raised, man, really has a huge, and like, for me, it was like abuse. So, you know, like, I had to fucking peel back the layers of that fucking onion and be like, oh fuck, there's a fucking Band-Aid. Right. Yeah, and you gotta pull that fucking Band-Aid up? Oh, there's 5 more on there. And you're like, what in the fuck? You're like, no wonder I fucking love crack. And like, drink, you know? No wonder I cocaine it. You know what I mean? Fuck, give me some down, motherfucker. You know? And that's just the addiction. And that's just like not fucking wanting to pull those Band-Aids off when they're there. And you know that shit underneath there's more, but you're just like, oh, fuck.
Just
you know, and that's fucking, over that's unresolved trauma right there, you know, and you're like, and you got reasons to not fucking want, you know? And so that's just, for me, that was my personal, it's different for everyone else. But for me, it was like, all right, once I pulled that one Band-Aid off, and, oh shit, this happened to me when I was fucking 12 years old, and anytime I hear the word, I fucking want to just use, and I get aggressive, and then, well, fuck, that person ain't even alive anymore. And that other Band-Aid, what the, you know what I mean? And then, what the fuck? And it's that easy, you know? So it's just picking apart the fucking shitty things that had happened.
But it's a lot of self-work, though, right? Well, that gets you to that point to where you feel comfortable
100%
taking all that stuff off, right?
I still on some, like, thinking cop out shit, like, fuck, just to make me a crack.
I think it's when you start.
I just want to fucking.
I seen a quote. It was like, if you are always suspicious of everything and everybody around you, you never get to actually live the life of just accepting the good shit that's coming. And you know, like
that's where having, you know, like support and having my my resources in place. You know, having that elders in line on my phone where I could call and cry if I need. You know, or like having my you know, having resources readily available so that, you know, when I do have these fucking I'm like, let's go. You know, like whenever I have these tendencies where I'm like, okay, like I know it's not, like I think of it as quick as I would think about, maybe I'll try this number and see if it works, you know, still, you know, or whatever. As quick as that's there, it's gone, you know, and just knowing that I've been there so many times, you know, that like it's not worth going back for.
Yeah, that's funny, man, because one thing I was going to ask you, just based on knowing that you got like a lot of indigenous power, right? And I was gonna ask you how you deal with anxiety. You know what I mean? Because everybody in the world has anxiety, but I was just wondering if there's like just some indigenous proverb you tap back into or something. Where
bro, for real, I used to just smoke dabs, man, and I was like, because you know, I'd be like, well, because I was addicted to the process of fucking how shit had to be, you know, and heroin especially, like it's gotta be a certain way, and that applies to any. Shit's gotta be like
fun.
You know, like stuff's gotta be fucking, and that was what I was addicted to, you know. And so it was more just like replacing all that with like positive shit, you know, and like doing the work that we've been doing, and like. I mean, it's an everyday battle, but I mean, if I didn't have community and if I wasn't able to fucking rely on a lot of the people that I never used to just, I'd be like, fuck it, I'm gonna figure it out, you know? Like, why would I rely on whoever, you know? Or like, why would I, you know what I mean? So really, it was just having to be more curious on asking for help. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for the longest time, I was like, okay, I wouldn't even call my mom from jail. I'd be too much. I'm ashamed, you know what I mean? I'd be like, no, I don't want no one knowing where I'm at. Straight up. Know? And so it took a lot of like just having to fucking re-break all that. Those patterns.
Asking for help is sometimes like the hardest thing to do because you don't want to seem weak. You already shamed on the inside, so you don't want to give anybody else another reason to shame you, because then you feel like it's just gonna be more shame on top of more shame. So fuck it, I'll just deal with this. I'm just like sitting here shaking, it's just.
And so anxiety like would happen at moments where I'm just like fucking I smoke weed now. I don't smoke as many dabs and shit. It's more just like, I don't know. Anxiety's never gonna go anywhere. I constantly think about fucking heroin, and alcohol, and so it's all about resourcing myself. So if I go so long without eating, or if I fucking am tired, or if I'm any of these things, I'm not good times, man.
Word.
You know what I mean? And
was that that 3-day fast? Like just water or
water?
Yeah. Was that was at the you said fruit or no?
That was at a Sundance Lodge. So that whole thing was like,
because that's I kind of want to tap into that.
Before I even got there, I fasted.
Oh, okay, man.
So, bro, like, I had to fly in there like on nothing.
Yeah, just looking at it. In my bags, bro.
Yeah, well, and then you do once you're done the ceremony, then there's a feast. Then you eat, and yeah.
That's what's up.
I think after days of not eating, you don't even have an appetite. You're like, now I can't even eat so much food.
They give you watermelon. It's the first thing, and you're just like.
It's probably satisfying.
So satisfying. That and oranges.
Yeah.
But I was that little kid who ran around the freaking lodge and was just like watching everybody doing their thing. I didn't know.
You didn't know
the
eventually
magnitude of what it was. You know what I mean? And then, yeah, it's healing, man. It's a part of healing.
You also are a part of some projects that are going up there, right? Like I feel like I've seen, like it's some sort of like youth projects. Or
oh yeah, so in 2020 we started this non-for-profit called Nation Skate Youth.
Yeah.
And so what we do is we pretty much go to indigenous communities and we teach the kids how to skate.
Gotcha.
And so having Deluxe on board and helping us with that, and not only that, like all the other co-founders, everyone's super just involved and super about it. And I was at it for about 5 years, and then I just recently stepped away.
Okay.
And so the work itself speaks
for sure
numbers.
Yeah.
And not only that, but we've like, that's actually one of the reasons why I came to Oakland, is because we had a workshop at Town Park.
Oh, tight.
And it was 10 a.m. It was a nice little, like, it was really cool. We had about 30 kids.
Oh, tight.
And everybody got setups and van shoes, and we just taught the kids. And
that was on this trip, this time when you.
That was the first time that I came here.
Oh, okay.
That was my reason for coming to Oakland.
Was okay.
The Ohlone youth that were at Town Park are the ones that we're teaching.
Was K-Dub over there?
There was nobody there because it was early in the morning.
Oh yeah, straight up.
They wanted that because at about 2 or 3 of the characters started showing up.
Word.
And we got stuff laid out everywhere, so they're just like extra on guard.
Yeah.
But for the most part, yeah, it was so well received that, like, you know, it just eventually it picks up, and then before you know it, you're going to communities. And like we've been to Hawaii, and we've been to all over the place.
That's fire.
It's been pretty awesome. And so, you know, a lot of the youth that we are connecting with back then are now like sending us DMs of edits, and like we've created monsters, and they're just like so fired up about
That's
it.
tight.
That like it's like I didn't really get that, you know what I mean? I kind of had to just be like, okay, like in the 80s that looked badass, you know, I want to be badass, you know, like so many types of thing. Whereas now we're like teaching the kids.
Can go actually pinpoint
like,
it.
Yeah, now it's not so
just sporadic. It was like
not as rugged as how we were taught, you know. Like there's still like there's still layers. Everybody wants to freaking do airs and kick down stuff. And it's like kids, you gotta, you know, so we teach them the basics steps, and then you kind of let them on their own, and so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but
yeah, it's definitely doing its thing, and yeah, I'm pretty proud of the work that we've accomplished.
Yeah, I was about to say, congrats on that, because nobody knows what really goes into nonprofits that actually want to help. You know what I mean? A lot of nonprofits, from what I see, like there's a bunch of nonprofits in the city where they are supposed to be attacking the recidivism and attacking like the drug habits, but like you go to jail, you get out, and you go right back into those hotels. That's right on the same corner that you went to jail, and like they got people walking around acting like they're here to help because they're setting up a couple fucking piss stations and stuff, but the actual connectivity of it isn't really prevalent at all. You know, like doesn't seem like there's any true counseling or just trying to ask like, what is it what is it? You know what I mean? Like, what is it that's got you going back and forth on the street? Is there something you looking
The
for?
system
Or
is fucked.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
And so, you know, like how the crack was introduced in the 80s. They said the FBI was involved, the CIA or whatever.
Yeah, and all of that.
Yo, in Canada, they allowed Oxycontin to be
Just
over the counter.
pretty much. Yeah.
So, yo, that was, in my eyes, looked like it was purposely done.
For
The
sure.
opioid crisis was done by the government to create
more strife.
population control
Yeah.
almost, you know? And so they're fentanyl, like,
Yeah, the way that stuff is just so easy
one
and available
but
now.
carfentanil, facts I've seen, was made at a University of Calgary in Alberta.
Man.
So they were like creating these drugs, and then people are on the fucking, you know what I mean? You can't even find it down anymore, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Straight.
Unless you got a good
Yeah.
plug. But I mean, and more, fentanyl is it,
That makes a
man.
lot of sense because fentanyl came from like doctors. Doctors give you a little bit of fentanyl when you go under surgery, when you get
Right.
wisdom teeth taken
Or
out.
giving
So
birth.
it makes sense that people with access to like all this medical stuff probably made something.
Crazy, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because that's what I've heard before too, that it's like if you're like hiking or something and you fucking fall and bust a leg and no one's around or whatever, like they got these fentanyl patches that you put on them.
Yeah.
Kind of straighten you out a little bit, but
That sounds gnarly.
yeah, for real, man.
But I mean, that's why I'm like really fortunate I got out of there when I did, because there were times where I thought I was getting a good gig, you know?
Yeah.
And then I'm coming to, and I'm like, what the fuck? And so like getting Narcan is the fucking worst.
Woo!
Yeah, just because it feels like you get you know, like those big foghorns on boats.
Uh-huh.
It's like that sound
Shit.
in your ears, but then it feels like you got kicked in the chest by a horse, and every muscle in your body aches. It's like you just went into it's like a seizure, you know, your body just feels so, it's the worst, and plus it's like super chalky taste, and you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because that's probably because you probably faded out. Your senses are fading out so
Yeah.
crazy that when everything starts coming back too, that's probably
It's like a blast.
yes. Back to life, motherfucker.
Fucking suck.
Damn, dog, that is gnarly. Yeah, this lady was walking by the other day and was handing out stuff. I was at a bar somewhere and she was like, yeah, like we got condoms and fentanyl. I mean, and Narcans and shit. And I was like, I don't even know fucking Narcan, but I was like, well, actually, let me get that because you never know. Somebody can be out front the shop and
I keep that in my house, and I don't even. You never
yeah,
know.
because it's just you never know who might be around.
Like even though when I was on the streets, bro, like I've resuscitated enough people back to life, and like there was just things that I couldn't do that Narcan can, you know. And like, that's just like it's just fact, you know. Like yeah.
So when you head back to Canada, or do you stay in Canada still right now?
Yeah, I live in Vancouver.
Yeah. So after like a week or two here, then you going back up.
Yeah, I'm actually flying to Vancouver for a couple of days and then to Ottawa.
Yeah,
And
that's
then I'm going to
juicy.
Montreal for
Word.
another week after that.
Any words of wisdom to youth or shit, even grown-ups our age or whatever? I mean, there's already a bunch in here. Like I think anybody here listening to your story,
Yeah, I don't know, man. Life works in mysterious ways. Like, you could be one day fucking dapping up the homies after a sesh, and then fucking you could be in the fucking hospital for something life-threatening, you know what I mean? So I just am really grateful to just being damn near 50, still being able to push around, you know what I mean? And to be able to be, like, in a place that I've only ever dreamt of being, you know what I mean? I've only ever heard about this place.
Wow.
And so, I was like, I should have sobered up in my 20s and, you know, all this shit. But had I not fucking done half the shit, then I wouldn't be the man I am today. You know what I mean? So we all got to go through shit in order to fucking stand up, you know?
Straight up.
And that's just it. So there was times I wanted to fight that feeling, but I was just like, yo, Creator's got my back, you know?
Straight up. I think that's how we gonna end it. Creators got your back, alright? Mondays and Tuesdays at the shop. Joe Buffalo on the scene. We'll holla at y'all.